back again. Sideshow number 11, number 11. So, what's up, man?
Chilling.
How's it going?
Chilling.
We had a rough week, didn't we?
Debatable.
Yeah. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So Johnny and I decided that we're going to do a sideshow tonight. And so we're going to get to talk to you a little bit about like objectivism and
libertarianism, freedom,
free speech, doxing, deplatforming, docking, which will be look it up. Hashtag look
immigration.
It up. Yeah, you can catch our show on Pornhub. Don't look up docking on Pornhub.
We're trying to help you.
Yeah, we're helping you.
If you're alone, I feel like, and your door's locked in your room, maybe you can.
That's what you're into, you know.
Yeah, or bathroom.
Yeah.
Debatable.
Or wherever.
The fuck you talking about?
Or freedom.
On the subway, on the bus.
Yeah, so we want to bring this first video to you, and it's questions that libertarians can't answer. Is what it's called.
Are we going to go through we're not going to go through the whole thing, right?
We'll go through some of it.
Okay, cool.
And it's a lot of questions that we get asked all the fucking time, so we figured let's let the man, Stefan Molyneux, talk about it, and he's one of my favorites. Philosopher. He has a really cool channel on YouTube, and it's Free Domain Radio. It's a Stefan Molyneux channel, and so we'll let you guys check this out.
Yeah, we're going to kind of talk about it as we go along.
Yeah. All right, we'll get it going here.
The question libertarians just can't answer. If your approach is so great, why hasn't any country anywhere in the world ever tried it? So, why are there no libertarian countries? If libertarians are correct in claiming that they understand how best to organize a modern society, how is it that not a single country in the world in the early 21st century is organized along libertarian lines? Well,
there's the question.
Why is that?
Way to misunderstand libertarianism up front. That bodes not well for the article to come.
Yeah.
First of all,
it's more of a philosophy.
Do not claim to be correct in how best to organize a modern society. The whole point of libertarianism is I don't know what is best for other people. I don't know who you should marry. I don't know how you should educate your children.
Government.
It's not our business.
Career you should pursue.
We're not government.
I don't know how many leg lifts you should do. I don't know how the fuck you should part your hair. I don't know how often you should go for dental checkups. I don't
know. So it's not even that we're not government, like what you're saying. It's actually that we don't want it. We don't want control, right? I want to just make sure they understand that like we want you to have the right to make your own decisions.
Well, not even that. I want to be able to have my own.
Look at Stefan Molyneux's face. We're not trying to
I'm listening.
Don't know. That's the whole point. Know. Rational humility is the essence of the libertarian position. I
want
cannot
freedom
figure out for the life of me
right.
half of how I'm supposed to spend my goddamn day, let alone dictate to other people through the awesome power of law and violence how they should spend half their money and most of their days. And
so let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, so we don't want to control you.
Right.
And that's what you do when you participate in the system.
Right.
System of government.
Yeah, we talked about this last night in voting and stuff like that.
On our last podcast, episode
18.
Yeah.
We're legal, right? We're legal now.
We're legal now, yeah. So we talked about that, and we got a little heated, but we had it was a good, I feel like both sides. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, but even from last night to like today, like thinking about it overnight, and like government's force.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in force, so I shouldn't be fucking voting. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, dude.
And this is there's nothing wrong with getting heated about it a little bit, as long as you're not screaming and throwing shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And getting called on stuff, and I'm not saying because I was right or you were wrong. It's not that. It could be about anything, right? And if you're getting triggered and you're saying this doesn't feel right, like, okay, like, look into why. Don't just because I know this to be true is the way I understood it, doesn't mean you can't grow.
Yeah,
right?
Totally
so
agree.
that's what we're trying to convey to the freedom fighters, that they need to understand. You start looking at these videos, you start watching different things, you read books on the freedom movement, which would be like libertarian and CAP Ayn Rand,
Right.
Milton Friedman, some of the some of that stuff. You just
Some of our heroes.
sure,
Yeah.
you get into them and start learning their philosophies, and you start understanding that it's not really about politics. It's more about the philosophy and the
it's-
mindset of.
It's absolutely philosophy over politics.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, that's what I wanted to touch on for a second there.
Okay.
all of their children's income through national debts. So the reality is, the libertarian humility is that we don't know how other people should live, and you cannot organize a society. Like,
No government.
if we had a society where the government forced everyone to get married, and they say, well, libertarians have a different idea of how people should be forced to get married, the whole point would be libertarians don't know who you should marry.
Right.
You're right.
So we're not going to force anyone
Yeah.
to get married. That's the...
So, yeah, we don't know what's best for you.
Yeah.
I know what's best for me.
Well, I
most
don't even.
of the time.
I barely don't. I barely know what's best
Right,
for me.
yeah, exactly.
There's
I
no
think you
way.
said that too,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no way for me to look at your life and say,
Right.
you need to do this. And if you don't do this, then
You're wrong.
I'll shoot you.
Yeah, exactly. By force.
Right. Right.
Yeah, the government. You
Right.
You don't agree with something, so therefore you put into motion the government to, whether through vote or policy or law, whatever.
Yeah. Regulation.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So now you're forcing someone that doesn't have your same mindset to do something by force,
Right.
by point of gun.
Right. I'm self-governing. I'm not a governing body.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom.
You're
line.
not a slave owner.
Yeah. I'm not a
Yeah.
slave owner. Right?
You're a free man.
Yep.
And you don't want to control anyone.
Free men want other free men to be
Yeah.
free.
The only time you should be controlling someone is in the bedroom with the safe word.
Yeah.
And you can find that on Pornhub as well.
And that is debatable.
Not really.
And then the second
Wow,
chick
you
then
can
they say,
debate
oh,
it all
you're
you want
married
with
if
your
you don't-
partner, I guess.
Yeah, you can be a master in debating too. Otherwise.
Want to force people to get married. Like people say, libertarians say government education is bad. Ooh, you must be against education. Because I'm anti-rape, somehow I'm anti-sex.
Right?
So,
That's a good
this is
point.
good. This is
It
a
is.
good cardio workout for me, reading these kinds of articles. And of course, the reality is that countries in the past have specifically tried libertarian principles. So the founding of the United States, with the not insignificant exception of slavery, was, and of course, no franchise for women and poor whites. But for the most part, economically at least, there was a laissez-faire attitude. Why? Well, they proclaimed a virtue of having a laissez-faire economy because they didn't actually have the strength and power to do what they're doing now, right? When America broke away from England in the late 18th century, they had almost no power, no money, they were in debt, and so they left you alone because they didn't have the strength. And the moment they got the strength and power, it's like a vampire is nice to you when the sun is out. So
Yeah. So that's a good point too, that we were founded, our country was founded on a very close to a libertarian society.
libertarian principle.
And if you look at it this way, is that it flourished for a long time. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's a young country, but look how fast we've grown. We've grown to be the world's superpower over fucking night, basically, in
Right.
the grand scheme of things.
Well, I mean, yeah, in the annals of time.
Have you heard, bro?
anyway, so let's go on. It's not, so then he goes, there's lots of countries and so on. Wouldn't at least one country have tried it? Wouldn't there be at least one country out of nearly 200 with minimal government, free trade, open borders, decriminalized drugs, no welfare state, and no public education system? Well, that is a fine, fine question. Why, in modern democracies, with the power to print money and go into intergenerational debt, why is it that politicians act in ways that get them elected? God, that's a...
I think it was answered in the question even.
Okay, let's see if we can work
To
through
get
this. So,
elected.
to get elected, a politician must offer things for free to his constituents or her constituents.
Yeah, because he's not going to pay
That's
out of
how
his
you
own
get
fucking
elected. You don't get
pocket.
elected on principle. I mean, public school scrubs any kind of rational, moral principles out of your brain the third day that you're in there. So people aren't voting.
Yeah, and they're narcissists. They're freaking crazy about like power, holding on to it.
Oh, yeah.
Look at most politicians;
Yeah.
they have been in there for years, and they'll just jump the ranks. Right? They'll be like a governor, a mayor, whatever, and then they just
Right.
keep working their
Right.
way up. They'll start somewhere and they'll work their way up, and then they get into the federal. and then next thing you know, they're Congress, Senate, whatever. They're going to get into those positions. But that's
and the other thing is, once government starts, it's impossible to stop.
Right, it's a cancer.
Yeah, it just spreads. And
but
spreads.
the other good point is about this is that we don't need that template. We don't need that.
We don't.
It's what's right and wrong. We've
Right.
covered that on the show a lot.
Right.
And so that's what he just was talking about in the first time we were watching the first part of the video, that I don't know what's best for you.
Right.
I don't have the best answer for every single thing. I just know that no one should be imposing force upon anyone.
Right. Nobody should be fucking
controlling.
legislating what is okay and what is not okay. If we were really talking about freedom,
Yep. And we are.
Libertarians are opposed to big government. That's just the bottom line.
They're not opposed?
They are opposed.
Oh, are
we
opposed.
are opposed.
Okay, yeah.
We are opposed to big government.
For sure.
And we shouldn't be.
So
we shouldn't be fucking participating in it.
Right.
I mean,
so you have the libertarians that want to work within the system, which we have no problem with at all.
That's kind of like what I am.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, you
The
know.
small government, and they want to bring it back down, and they basically like they want the 1776 kind of style. That's pretty much what they want. However, what you said before that was once government starts, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it is a catch-22. Like
Right.
you can't win with government.
Right.
Once you start it, it's gonna grow.
It's gonna grow, and it's gonna gain more power, and more power. equals
Government's
more
always
force.
working on its gains, bro.
More
You know what I
power equals more force.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, and then you have other factions of the libertarians that they don't want that. So,
Yeah, like the
ANCAP.
ANCAP guys.
Yeah, anarcho-capitalists.
Yeah.
And others. There's others.
Right.
You know, if you want voluntary and fucking free market capitalism, you can't really have government if they're controlling you in any way.
Well,
'Cause what
that's
good
all
is-
government is force.
Yeah. So what good is? I mean, what is it doing?
Nothing.
It's regulating and controlling us.
It's
At least at this point, that's what it does.
Yeah, I mean, government it doesn't produce anything. The only thing it produces violence.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
produces violence,
that's
and
the only thing
it
it
has
produces.
its slaves working for
Right.
them through taxation.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It's
It's like slavery, but yet the slaves are paying for their own housing,
Right.
paying for their own
wages.
clothes and food
Yeah,
and
their own-
everything, and then we still have to pay our master at the same time.
yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, the government workers being taxed.
Oh, well, then there's it's like what?
Like,
Yeah,
come on, man.
I don't know. It's crazy.
They're gonna pay you with tax money, and then they're gonna tax your tax.
Yeah, tax that ass.
Are you guys serious, man?
Yeah, they're serious.
Serious.
Yeah.
Like, this has been going. Why do you guys continue to allow this? You guys go to the polls. Yesterday, you had the opportunity to repeal a fucking tax,
Right.
And
Gas tax.
Yeah. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah,
We're
no,
not
we
gonna
got to
do
have
that.
our overlords
Oh,
take
fuck
more
you
money.
guys. Oh
Yeah.
man.
All right, I'm going to go back into the video for a sec here. There we go.
Voting based on principle, and as Winston Churchill once said, the best cure for any idea of a legitimate democracy is 5 minutes conversation with your average voter. I talked to a guy once who said, I voted for Pierre Elliott Trudeau because Margaret Trudeau was cool and hung with the Stones. Yes! That gives you
Name
the right
drop.
to control my child's education and half my life. Of course, she's cool. She hangs with the Stones.
Well, why do you think
But,
Arnold won governor?
politicians
You know what I mean?
often
Yeah.
stuff
Name.
for free. I mean, all political platforms, with the exception of the Libertarian Party,
They're
all
bribing
political
you.
platforms are, I'm going to give you free shit and don't worry about where it comes from.
Right?
I mean,
Both
that's all it is,
sides.
right? So
It's the same. It's the same fucking party, dude. Whether you call yourself Republican or you call yourself a Democrat, it's the same party. It's one party controlling everything.
Yeah. Yeah, all they're doing is just saying, "Hey, I'll give you free healthcare, I'll give you free
Quid
retirement, I'll
pro
give
quo.
you-" right?
This for that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I feel like we covered that pretty good. We'll move on to the next one. I think.
Yeah. We're gonna switch gears and we're gonna go into an
Ayn Rand,
Ayn Rand video. Ayn Rand is a philosopher who we
Immigrated from Russia.
Yeah,
Back in, I think it was in the 40s.
she's
when she got
absolutely
here.
so sexy. And you'll see.
Yeah, you will. You shall see. Now, open your minds, and let's give her a listen here.
Most of us are brought up by an ethic that says that we are
right here.
keeper.
I would say we most certainly are not, could not be, and should not
Right.
attempt to be. the only concern men should have for other men is respect for their rights.
All right, so that right there,
That alone.
that just there is like opposite of what we hear.
Yeah, so we just heard
We are not our brother's keeper.
Stefan Molyneux.
Right.
He was talking about how government is force and why libertarianism doesn't work as a political philosophy. Because it's not a political philosophy, it's a...
It's not a what you're trying to say is it's not a political ideology. It is a philosophy.
Right.
That's
okay.
what you were trying to say. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little...
I got you.
I'm
No, you're not.
I'm a little fired up right now.
Yeah. All right.
So...
you are not your brother's keeper.
We're not our brother's keeper, meaning we are not supposed to create a government to watch over each other.
Yeah.
We are not our brother's keeper. We are our self-governing bodies, and that's the way we should be. And this is what she's talking about. Being our brother's keeper, being the government watching over everybody. Watching over the people.
A man should never expect another man to sacrifice for him, nor should he sacrifice himself for other men. He should respect the independence and the rights of others.
So, just you shouldn't.
Right.
You're not your brother's keeper. You shouldn't sacrifice you for another man,
Right.
or for anyone else. Like that goes in the face of patriotism. That goes in the face of a lot of things that we hear about social programs. How they always sell the social programs.
Right.
You got to help your fellow man.
Right, or even becoming a like city council person, or becoming a governor or senator or mayor. I mean, you're taking responsibility for other people, which you have no business doing. Nobody should be our overlord.
Right, and it goes into the whole voting thing we were talking about,
Right.
and it goes into the whole democracy is mob rule.
Right. So when we elect somebody as a leader, we're electing pretty much our slave masters. So.
Yep.
This is just a kind of a realization for me too.
Yeah. Well, you're learning. We talk about this on the podcast. So if you're wrong or you're growing,
right?
You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Right. So we shouldn't. So first off, we shouldn't be electing people to use force against us.
Right.
That's the first mistake that we've made.
So the first mistake is stop voting Democrat and Republican.
Yeah. I mean,
First
you're voting for the same thing. You're just voting for the same policies, because I mean, ultimately they all want the same thing. They want money and power. It's money and power, and that's what happens when we create government. We give them money, and we give them power to enslave us.
Yeah.
That's
yes, master. Yeah. That's
So,
pretty much what they're doing.
So no public offices, like you're self-governing. You're not your brother's keeper. Don't depend on anybody to provide for you. Like social programs, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And
that's the biggest thing, I think, that the average Joe, I mean, they're either arguing about who's going to take care of our roads, or they're arguing about, well, what about medical care? What about retirement, like Social Security? What about this? What about that?
How about we
take care of ourselves?
Yeah, we take care of ourselves. Not only that, but we open up the medical market and let it control itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's crazy.
I think
that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yes.
We would have prices like $6 to fix a tooth.
Right.
I mean, like something practical.
Well, yeah, $20 worth.
Yeah,
$20 to $20.
Yeah. I mean, because you would have like a bunch of different medical providers. I mean,
it's the technical term is a buttload.
A buttload of medical providers.
Yeah, you're welcome.
A buttload of medical providers.
But see, this
means
did you say memes?
Competition means lower prices.
Right. And this goes all what we're just saying, wrapping it right back up into what she's saying is you're not your brother's keeper.
Yeah, stay out of my shit.
Now, if you want to take care of your friends or your family, that's out of your own heart and your own selfishness.
That's my decision.
Right.
It's
called freedom.
That's freedom.
It's called freedom. All right, we'll go back.
Let's see what this beautiful woman has to say. Come on, beautiful Ayn Rand.
Right.
I love you.
And never take part in any form of enslavement. political enslavement.
Okay, so that well, pause it. That's exactly what Chris just said.
Yeah, so
Don't take part in political enslavement.
Right.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
All right,
man.
I'm going to go again.
That he's not responsible for other men and should never permit them to assume the role of responsibility for him. He should not submit to force nor exercise force. He should not ask others to leave for his sake, nor should
Right
he
there.
ever
Did you hear that?
leave for the sake of others.
You should not exercise force, and you should not commit force.
Yep.
I mean, that's
Other than self-defense, and she says that all the time.
yeah, and that's because it's self-defense. Self-defense is a natural act of preservation. I mean, you can't get more natural.
Right. Real human shit, animal shit.
Yeah, I mean, like that's primal, man.
Yep.
That's something that is
Yeah, you see an
innate.
animal you see an animal in nature and another animal attacks it, they'd try to fight it off or run. One or the
Yeah,
other.
that's absolutely
Still a defense form, a form of defense.
that is your creator giving you awareness of self, and to fight somebody off is an innate act. It's something that's embedded in us. It's primal. It's absolutely like the deepest part of us to protect self-preservation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, go back to video here.
He should treat others as traders. But that is, if two men agree on a given deal or they want to cooperate, that's fine. They trade
Traders as in
value
voluntary.
for value voluntarily, without
Yeah.
sacrifice on either part. They
Like
both
merchants.
serve their rational self-interest if they deal with each other. If they don't want to deal with each other, it should not be forced to.
And you place the emphasis upon
What does she call it? Rational what?
self-
Right there,
I'll
rational
back it up.
self.
Forced to.
I think she said that.
And you place the emphasis upon rational and their rational self-interest.
Yeah.
Rational
I place
self-interest,
that
that's what it
emphasis
is.
on everything.
Yes.
Because that which is proper for you on a rational basis cannot be proper for you on any other basis. And therefore, all your rights rest on your nature as a rational being. If you want to claim any kind of rights, you cannot claim them for your feelings, only for your mind. And the actions
damn.
regarded as moral are
How
only
long
the
ago
ones
was this?
based.
This is in the 50s, I believe.
Facts
Maybe
don't care
early
about
60s.
your feelings, man. That's
Yeah.
what she's saying.
We always say what? Get your feelings out of it, your
Yep.
emotions out of it.
Yeah, keep your feelings
Yeah.
in check, man.
All right. Good?
Yeah.
All right. That was good, though, to point
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah, it was.
Rational goals and rational motives.
Rational. Rational.
Philosophy
Totally immoral. You mean those the
that
actions
are not
which,
based upon reason.
yes,
So that charity, in this sense, based upon emotion, would not be moral.
charity is a very marginal issue. One of my main tenets is that charity should never be a duty, and when
Right,
you want
that's-
to help someone else,
See, that's
it
what I
is
always
proper,
say.
it's not evil, provided you do it on the basis of his value, because he's a good person who suffers through no fault of his own. Because
Okay, that's just some crazy shit there
Yeah,
for most
dude.
people, right?
Yeah.
So she's basically saying you shouldn't give charity to someone unless they're a good moral person.
Right.
Which is kind of what we don't say that exactly,
Yeah.
but we do say we want good moral freedom fighters out there.
Right,
We want to
right.
build your
Well, I mean,
good human 101, right?
It makes sense though, because look at how many people are on the street, and there are some good moral people
Sure.
who've had just a bad situation.
Yeah,
happen.
oh, of course.
And then there are people who choose to be out there.
Yeah.
And when you give those people charity, you enable them to continue to
Stay
to
in the same
perpetuate
cycle.
the cycle. Yeah, and
It's a vicious cycle. They
and
just stay in it.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change.
Well, there's tons of videos on YouTube about how people get different handouts of whatever kind.
Right.
And they just consistently stay in that system. They don't
Right.
try to advance and move on.
Right.
All right, let's continue with Ann here.
because he's a friend of yours, because he's a victim of injustice. Those are all helping values. But never on, if you grant a man charity on the ground of his flaws, his not accidental misfortune, but a misfortune brought about by his own evil, then that kind of help I do regard as evil.
How does the concept of love
She even
for one
regards
another
it
fit
as
into this
evil.
philosophy?
So you want to talk about that for a second too, about how she regards it as evil?
Right. So what is she saying when she says that? Like she regards it as evil.
Yeah, about the charity.
Right.
Because he's a victim of injustice. Those are all helping values. But never on if you grant a man charity on the ground of his flaws, his not accidental misfortune, but a misfortune brought about by his own evil, then that kind of help I do regard as evil.
How does...
Okay.
So it's evil for him to take charity, and it's evil for us to give charity to.
Right.
Oh, okay, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
people don't think about that.
It is.
And so that's why I get so passionate when you hear me go, no, government is force. Government is evil. It's a bad relationship that you should get out of.
Right.
You should get a divorce if you're being abused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where that all comes from. And so she's absolutely right. We know that. And it's right or wrong. You have to do what is right.
Right.
There is no gray area, and that's the problem with the political system. It turns everything into this weird gray area. Even if your gray area is really dark gray and it's close to, or a light gray, I mean, closer to the white side, the lighter end of it, of the yin and the yang.
It's still tainted.
Sure, it's still tainted. Hashtag taint, look it up. All right, so continue now. Now she's going to go on to, what was it? Love, right?
Love.
Yeah, okay. Let's hear about this. And this is where we were talking about on the podcast before about selfishness.
I really like the selfishness and love. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
The concept of love for one another fit into this philosophy?
Shall we start with romantic love, because I don't quite understand love.
Romantic
for
love
one
certainly
another.
is a part of your novels. It's very much a
romantic
part of
love
novels.
I regard as the most properly selfish emotion there is.
Yep.
You fall in love with a person because you regard him or her as a value, and because they contribute to your personal happiness. Now, you couldn't fall in love with a person by saying, you mean nothing to me. I don't care whether you live or die, but you need me, and therefore I'm in love with you. If someone offered love of that kind, everyone would regard
I feel
that
like
as a
phones are an
deadly
issue.
insult. That isn't love. Therefore, romantic love is a selfish emotion. It is the choice of a person as a great value, and what you fall in love with is the same values which you choose embodied in another person. That's romantic love, and that is profoundly, properly selfish. Now, any lesser form of love, such as friendship, affection, is the same thing in effect. You grant a feeling of affection to those whom you have concluded are.
Right, like your friends. You get something out of it. You enjoy being around them, right?
Yeah.
So it's a selfish act. Like, I enjoy hanging out with Chris. I don't know why.
Right?
Yeah, but I do. I enjoy hanging out with Chris. I enjoy hanging out with Jamie and Kenny. And it's a selfish act because I have fun when I hang out with those guys or do the podcast.
It's like kind of self-interest. I mean, it's not kind of it's self-interest.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But most people don't
But it's
even.
not- it's
most
not-
people don't think of it that way, though.
Yeah, no, it's because it's a mutual exchange. I mean, both parties have to kind
Well,
of.
yeah, they both have to obviously get along
Right.
and like each other, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm doing it out of selfishness, like for entertainment for myself.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, we'll go right back to it. We're almost done with this one.
But even, I mean, she talks about not only friendship, but also like she said, love is the proper selfishness. I think that's what she said.
I think that was how she worded it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like properly selfish. Like the best example she can give of objectivism is the selfish love.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much being selfish.
Right.
Are values. Your response to others is on the basis of values. And if they're no good, then you feel the appropriate emotion of contempt.
Are values absolute? Is it either good or evil? Is there any area in
That
between?
depends what you mean.
On which value?
I would say values are contextual. They depend on the context of a given situation. Now, there are unfortunately too many people who are part good, part bad. well, that's their problem. But what morality would demand of them is to struggle to the best of their ability to be good and never do evil consciously. If a man does that, I would regard him as completely good. If he never does evil consciously, deliberately. However, if he does just one action which he knows to be wrong, but permits it to himself, then
premeditated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's like if you do something wrong and you weren't really fucking, dude, you're not, that wasn't your intention.
Right.
You might have fucked up and you did something wrong, whatever it is.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, well, I still know who Chris is. He did something wrong, but I'm like, oh, okay.
But I still have value.
Sure,
Yeah,
exactly.
I still have value and redeemable value.
Right.
I think what she was getting at is people who consciously do evil have no good value. So she would just not deal with those people.
Yeah, exactly. Voluntary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Alrighty. So that's her. Check her out. Also, just remember, you guys can pause the video and look at the bottom because you could see where the what do you call it? The description for a YouTube video is. So
Yeah. Title.
we got to bring this one back too, huh?
Yeah. So we talked about Milton Friedman a little bit in the
a minute ago.
as we talked about Ayn Rand, and he's a
Economist. Yeah.
He's an economist. So he talks about economy and free immigration.
Yeah, and we didn't really watch the whole thing, so we wanted to kind of just go.
Yeah. We're
seat of
going
our
to do this
pants
one
here.
off the cuff
Yeah.
and just kind of like have a little bit of education ourselves on this one.
Yeah, all right. Here we go. Let's hear what he has to say.
I have always been amused by a kind of a paradox. Suppose you go around and ask people.
I love listening to him
The
talk.
United States, as you know, before 1914 had completely free immigration.
That's a
Anybody
Federal
could get
Reserve
on
time.
a boat and come to these shores, and if he landed on Ellis Island, he was an immigrant. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? You will find hardly a soul who will say it was a bad thing. Almost everybody will say it was a good thing. But then I suppose I say to the same people, but now what about today? Do you think we should have free immigration? Oh, no, they'll say, we couldn't possibly have free immigration today.
What has
Why,
changed?
That
Yeah.
would flood us with immigrants.
What is the factor?
In the end, God knows
that has
where
changed?
we'd be driven down to a bare subsistence level. What's the difference? How can people be so inconsistent? Why is it that free immigration was a good thing before 1914 and free immigration is a bad thing today? Well, there's a sense in which that answer is right. There's a sense in which free immigration, in the same sense as we had it before 1914, is not possible today. Why not? Because it is one thing to have free immigration to jobs. It is another thing to have free immigration to welfare.
Yeah.
There you
cannot have
go.
both.
You can't have handouts
Yeah.
for people just coming into your area where you're being taxed,
Right.
your country, and it's how does that work? They're coming in and they're getting the handouts from the people that are already enslaved there.
Yeah. Well, what
You know what I mean?
what happened was that the citizens of the United States have gotten the benefits for so long, the benefits of living in this country for so long that we can't see. We don't want. It doesn't seem like we want other people to have the same benefits as us. To immigrate here and to.
Well, yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that they're coming here and they're sucking off the tit of the fucking government.
Well, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's his point.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's a welfare state.
If we had jobs for everybody, which we do, and everybody can find a job. I mean,
make one.
I mean, it can be done. But the problem is we have this welfare state now, and everybody who comes here, or even like people who are from here, get on these systems and programs.
Right, but it keeps them complacent and it keeps them staying where they're at. They stay stagnant and they don't want any advancement.
Right.
Because they're already being taken care of. They're in a comfort zone. So they don't need to strive any further.
Yeah,
and then they're all
need.
the ones that he's talking about, I'm assuming, are undocumented, so they're not coming in and paying into the
Right.
tax system,
Right.
but they're benefiting off of it.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. let's cut the social programs and put people back to work.
So that also goes into what we were talking about before. If we didn't have government, then this wouldn't even be a fucking factor.
It wouldn't even be an issue. Right now.
It wouldn't be.
We would have open borders. Everybody be working.
Minding their own fucking business.
Yeah, the economy would be fucking great. Right? Everybody would be rich.
So
we would have flying fucking cars.
Yeah, flying tanks.
That's what I mean. Like fucking government, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, it's easy to get stuck in the trap of starting to like figure out and justify how it can work.
Right.
When you could just go, no, there shouldn't be any of it, right? It just
just kill it all.
Yeah, fuck it. All right, we'll go back into him there. Oh, I'd like to bring up too.
This guy's a fucking genius.
Right, yeah. But so it's not just the welfare. The drug war, it's also, and that's what's creating a lot of the influx of the people from the policies and laws that the United States is making. So that's what we're dealing with currently. This is obviously before that was really going on majorly.
All that social programs create is taxation.
More taxation,
and poverty. Yeah. That's all it creates.
It just keeps it in a vicious cycle.
Right, it does.
And then what does it do? It keeps the voter base, is what Stefan Molyneux is talking about, the promises.
Yeah, free stuff.
Right?
You know,
it keeps them.
We'll take care of the homeless. We'll give everybody fucking houses.
So those politicians that come up there and give you all these promises about what
because you don't want to see what's going on the streets. You don't like seeing homeless. You think somebody should do something about it, so you go to the polls, you make a vote, and say, "We need a homeless police." and then everybody agrees. Yeah, we need homeless fucking police,
right. and more shelters in every city.
And then we go to the polls and we all vote for homeless police. And here
we'll just add an extra tax onto junk food or something like that.
Yeah, we'll add tax to water.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So every time we go to the store now, we're paying extra for stuff that should be, So now we have more taxation. We have another system that we have to deal with. We have more authority. We have more force. I mean, that's what the ultimate outcome is.
Taxation is theft.
Voting is enslavement.
Ooh! You heard it here from Chris for the first time. Right on, man. Government is force, man. Force is force. All right, we'll go back to this video and see what he's got to say.
If you have a welfare state, if you have a state in which every resident is promised certain minimum level of income or a minimum level of subsistence, regardless of whether he works or not, produces it or not, well, then
sounds
it really
like socialism.
is an impossible thing. If you have free immigration in the way in which we had it before 1914, everybody benefited.
So yeah, but that's a good point. Like, so the pretty much all statism is a kind of form of either
it's
socialism.
Tribalism.
It's pretty much well, it is definitely tribalism, but it's definitely like a form of socialism in some way. Once you start getting handouts, if the government was just there to enforce your freedoms and protect your borders, okay, well, I could see that as being a
like you said, if you're promised housing, if you're promised better wages, if you're promised health care, if you're promised good roads, that's all socialism.
Yep.
That is us. That is you participating in socialism. That is you.
Social Security.
All of it. Yeah, all of it is socialism. And it's it's a system.
And because you're getting taxed out of your paycheck and you're getting taxed when you buy things, purchase things, you're not noticing that you're getting that much money stolen. But if you add it up at the end of the fucking year, you're realizing you're getting raped.
But Johnny, we're helping people.
Yeah, but what about the kids?
What about the kids, Johnny? The kids!
All right, I'll go back.
The people who were here benefited. The people who came benefited. Because nobody would come unless he or his family thought he would do better here than he would elsewhere. And the new immigrants provided additional resources, provided additional possibilities for the people already here. So everybody could mutually benefit. But on the other hand, if you come under circumstances where each person is entitled to a pro rata share of the pot, to take the extreme example, or even to a low level of the pot, then the effect of that situation is that free immigration would mean a reduction of everybody to the same uniform level. Of course,
If people come here, we get less of the slice of the pie. That's what.
Sure.
That's why we have closed borders.
Right, and everyone wants to come here because this country was set up pretty freaking cool in the beginning, and, and it has so much opportunity because, like we were saying earlier, it's been only around for such a short time that it's, even though there's so much government, more laws on the books than anywhere, and so much imprisonment and stuff like that, there is still a lot of opportunity.
Oh, tons
and the
of
infrastructure that we created for that freedom and opportunity is still there, even though it's so much red tape.
That's what's awesome about the United States is that we the principles are still there. They're just buried under so much garbage.
Yeah.
Like the American dream is still attainable when government gets the fuck out of the way. The problem is we have too much government. We have too many people with their hand out. There's too many. So once we start reducing all this stuff, we can get back to that place where people can achieve that American dream and have their house, vehicles,
and I'll interrupt a little bit. Like, just, you're on point. I agree with what you're saying, but it doesn't have to be America. It could be anywhere. Yeah. It's more of the American dream, generically speaking.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Right.
But you mean like freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom dream.
It would just be a better world if we were able to self-govern.
Yeah. Exactly.
Any world without government is better. Spider monkey.
Yeah, getting loose. Ready for the podcast.
Do it again. Spider monkey.
That wasn't what I did the first time, but yeah.
All right, so we found another video we want to kind of take you guys through.
Back to Stephen Molyneux, who we were watching earlier.
Right, and it's about voting. It's about the truth. It's called The Truth About Voting. And he makes a lot of sense. So let's start it up. We'll go.
Here we go. Let's hear what he has to say about voting.
Yeah.
And Iraq. So you don't vote because you think that voting will set you free or restrain government in any kind of way, because you're not an idiot. I mean, I'm going to speak to you as an intelligent, aware, brilliant human being, which is, if you weren't, you wouldn't be watching this. And so I'm not going to give you facts, because facts would be insulting to you. Facts would be to indicate that you are unable to process the basic reality of the world that you live in. And
he's an anarcho-capitalist, so he's talking to fellow anarcho-capitalists.
Right.
An agency of violence like the state by begging for crumbs from the table or favors. So you know that the government is fundamentally coercive. It is a coercive institution. That's what it does. That's all it is. And you know that voting is a pitiful plea. It is a beg. Please, master, give me back a little bit of what you have stolen. And I'm not going to insult you by pretending that that is an argument that is anything other than an emotional panic.
So coercion is, for those of you who don't know, is compelling somebody by way of force. So that is coercion. Whether it's like you have, like, you're blackmailing them, you're threatening them with violence, or you're withholding property, anything that would manipulate somebody to bring them to the side they want you to be on.
Yeah.
And a fear of increased predation and a begging for favors. The reality of the state is that they'll take whatever they want from you because they have the guns and the jails and the military, and that they will attempt to bribe you to get you to participate and give them moral sanction for their theft by getting you to participate in a system that allows you to choose this, that, and the other. Of course, you can only choose your master. You can't choose not to be a slave, which of course is why the whole thing is so patently ridiculous. They take your money to reward their enemies, to reward their friends and to punish their enemies.
And I just wanted to reiterate that whole thing. You can choose who your master is, right?
Right.
But you're still a slave.
Yeah, you can't choose not to be a slave. Mm-hmm. You have to be. You will always be a slave. That's not even a question.
Right?
Yeah. The question is who's in control of the weapons that are going to kill you if you're not a participant.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to educate yourself and everyone to learn what is right and wrong.
Right.
Spread the word. And what do you think would happen if all of a sudden everyone didn't go and show up at the polls and vote or pay their taxes on tax day?
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be a shit show.
That would be a shit show.
Be a shit show I'd love to see.
That would be a fire sale.
All right, let's get back to him.
And they will dangle. You can look at this in any of the campaigns. Ooh, we'll give you a little tax credit. Ooh, we'll give you a little tax break. Ooh, we'll give you a little bit of control over your retirement. Ooh, we'll give you a little bit of money for your medical expenses. Ooh, we'll do this. And it's all ridiculous. It's all bribery. It's embarrassing. You're not allowed to bribe them, but the whole point of the system is to bribe you with the leftovers of what they have stolen from you in the first place. So I'm not going to insult you by giving you facts that you already have. So I'm just going to make an appeal. This is a blatant emotional appeal. I think that there are very good arguments in it, but I'm not going to insult your intelligence with facts that you can easily get a hold of yourself. We're going to talk about what is going on in the realm of emotion, in the realm of self-esteem, in the realm of pride when it comes to thinking about voting. Do you know what voting is, fundamentally?
You're coming after my pride,
maybe
sir?
This happened to you. You go to school, you're a kid, little kid, maybe it's your first day, maybe it's whatever. You're early on. And the older kids grab some candy or some whatever, right? And what they do is they then stand on either side of you and they toss this candy back and forth. And you run, back and forth. Hey, give me my candy back. I want my candy, guys. Well, that's voting. They take from you.
It's funny,
and then
I have
you
two older brothers.
run around trying to beg for a little bit of the scraps back.
I have two older brothers. I know that fucking feeling really well. My brothers are 6 and 7 years older than me. So anytime when I know that feeling well.
So what I'm going to try and do in this video is appeal to your base human pride.
Ooh.
I mean, God, what a pitiful spectacle to beg your political masters for a few scraps back from the riches they have stolen from you at gunpoint. How pitiful
taxation
and ridiculous
is
is that? And what a self-shaming, self-abusing action it is to run around in the playground begging for what was rightfully yours to be returned to you in little scraps, whatever we feel.
Yeah, it was yours in the first place.
Right.
Delude you into giving us your sanction and your support. When they take your candy and they're throwing it back and forth in the playground, what do? Well, you can't get the candy back, and you can't get your tax money back from the state. You can't get control of your life back from the state because they have the guns. They run the show. They have the guns. Well,
Government is force.
you simply don't participate. You say, that candy is not worth my pride.
Whoa.
The spectacle of me running around and begging for people to give me back what they have stolen from me when they're never going to do it anyway.
Dude, I see all the people on
shameful.
Facebook with the I voted stickers. And I'm listening to this guy. I'm like, oh my God, dude. We are fucking clowns, dude.
Yeah.
We are
Pawns.
We are just a joke.
We're pawns in a sick game is what we are.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. Mind blown a little, right?
Yeah.
right,
a
let's
little
see.
bit.
Embarrassing. It is too pitiful for me to engage in that behavior. I am going to walk away.
You take your
the
pride and
fucking
walk away.
candy.
Yeah.
Keep my money. I'm not going to beg you to give it back.
Have some fucking dignity.
Yeah.
I'm not going to plead with you. I'm not going to get on my knees. I'm not going to engage in the fantasy that this is at all about me, or about virtue, or about control, or about getting good things done in the world. I am not going to give you that sanction. I am not going to participate in this violent institution. And really, the presidency, I mean, come on, people. You don't have to be brain surgeons. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know emotionally. You don't have to be brain surgeons
He's a
to
smart
understand.
Frenchie, man.
The changing the president changes nothing about the system.
Yeah. Trumpers. Obamaites.
It's like you're trading in an old Lada for a
Bumpers.
BMW and all you get is the old Lada back with a BMW hood ornament on the top, and they say, hey, we upgraded you. You're changing the hood ornament on the car.
It's the same fucking car.
It's nothing.
It's the same jalopy.
It's a ridiculous illusion. What are your choices? Cranky old fascist versus creepy hands-in-your-pocket socialist? These are your choices, and you're going to participate in this?
Oh, wow.
Have some pride, for God's sake.
Yeah. I like it, dude.
Wow.
What do you think?
Yeah. Have some pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just woke up my pride, dude. Jesus, dude.
Right?
Yeah, I like I was saying, like you see all the people with on Facebook and Instagram and whatever with the I voted stickers, and
I participated.
I remember last
I
year, dude.
in your slavery.
I was so fired up about elections in 2016 that I was like posting pictures of me going to the poll and I'm thinking like how much I've learned and how I've changed, like thinking about the way that
the world works, the economy, everything.
Okay, so say locally we decide we want to improve our streets, so we want to impose a tax, right?
Right.
So city council comes up with a tax proposal. They put it on the ballot. We take a vote. 99% of town doesn't show up. Well, 1% does. Now they've made policy for 99% of the people.
Yeah, it's mob rule.
Mob rule. Okay, so that's the only time these systems work is when it's in favor of the idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's government. It's more force. It's forcing people to participate in socialism. I mean, it's
statism.
Yeah,
democracy is mob rule.
Oh,
So yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of mind blowing, like how different my thinking was, like in 2016 versus what I see going on.
And
now.
you know why? Because you've had conversations with people that have a different outlook on what's going on.
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of hearing the right and left paradigm, you're hearing outside that.
It's like ditching the political ideology for a philosophy of self-governance rather than governing a governing body.
Yeah, it's exactly. You're switching ideology and brainwashed and being a slave for having a philosophy on being a good human.
Right.
Really.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm always a good human.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying that, but I mean that's well, in a sense, no, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
If you think about it, yeah, you
No,
were forcing people by good.
No, not gonna think about it.
Today is today. I live in the present. That never happened. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. Did you want to play a little bit more of that, or you want to go on to?
No, let's go on. Let's go on to. Okay, so we're gonna
switch gears.
We're gonna switch gears again, and this is a video. Why were Alex Jones and InfoWars kicked off of YouTube, Facebook, Apple, and Spotify? So this guy's name is
Alex
Ian
Jones
Shearer.
is a media personality, and through his website, InfoWars, he has become a hotbed of conspiracy theories, including that 9/11 was an inside job, which isn't true, or
Yes,
that
it
the
is.
Sandy Hook murders of the children were a hoax,
I don't know
also
about that.
not true, and all sorts of other things.
So, it's the point is about this is that it's just someone speaking a different. He's speaking a totally different narrative, and the mainstream doesn't like it.
Right.
And that's pretty much what's going on here. And so he's already like downplaying everything about him. Now, I don't know. I do know a little bit about Alex. Actually, I know a little bit more than a little, but I know about Alex Jones.
Right.
And what I do know is that he thinks 9/11 is an inside job, and so does a big majority of Americans. If you look it up on the polls, I'm not sure of the numbers, but it's a big majority of them.
Well,
And
let me say this real quick. I am not a fan of Alex Jones.
Right.
I don't really care for him.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of like big mouth, whatever.
yeah, like a shock jock.
Yeah, kind of shock jock.
Personality.
I think it's just an old shtick. But
Yeah.
I mean, but still, I mean, Regardless of what he thinks and what he says, and I know what you're saying, like 100%. Like I don't disagree. I don't agree with Alex Jones on a lot of things, but the 9/11 thing, I do agree on.
Yeah.
I think, and you were saying that a lot of people,
they're on board with that.
right? Yeah. I think it was something that we knew about. And kind of let happen. So.
Right. And this guy is here, and this agency, news agency, whatever this is, they're just here to belittle and downplay everything. And it's the way that they're presenting it as well.
Right.
It's already giving you a narrative that it's wrong.
Well, yeah, he's talking to you in a way that kind of
like you're already on his side.
Yeah. Like he's explaining it in a very like dumb way.
Snarky.
Yeah, so that you understand that it was a good thing that these companies got rid of Alex Jones.
Yeah.
This comes down to free speech is what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
These websites pulled the plug for InfoWars on their social networks because he had broken their policies. There's a lot of concern over the last couple of months that he whipped his followers into a furor where they would harass or even do worse to a lot of these families who are impacted by all of this.
All right, and so we were talking about this when we kind of skimmed this video earlier, and when he's like, just even the words that they choose, because they're doing all this like with a team of guys usually, and they get their talking points down, and he's saying whipped, so he's implying that you're a slave and or you're a brainwashed zombie, or that if you're a fan of his, or that you're like he's a cult leader.
Yeah,
that's what they're implying.
Like these guys like follow Alex Jones like Trump supporters follow Trump.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
There was a story in the New York Times about how the parents of one of the kids from Sandy Hook couldn't go visit their child's grave because of how much harassment.
So there's a story in the New York Times, one story of one kid that this happened to, is what he just said.
Yeah, I think,
if it's even fucking true.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Just because it's in the New York Times.
I mean, come on. This guy could have corroborated that story very easily and put it up there for us to see.
Sure.
If that was the case.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just using words to manipulate you to kind of bring you to his side, like kind of like touch your feelings.
Oh yeah, feelings. That's what liberals are all about.
Yeah. We just that came up earlier, right? So
get your feelings out of it.
Yeah, this is not about feelings. This is about facts and I mean, these people talk about equality. We have to have equality in everything, and that's equality of speech. Is
and you mean equality when you're saying that you're meaning freedom. You're not meaning equality where.
Yeah, no.
Because obviously you can't have equality in a free society.
I mean, look. So these guys believe like in equality. Everybody has all these rights. You were born with them. Nobody's taking them away from you. I mean, people might be fucking with your money or manipulating people to do things, but I mean, you are free. You were born this way. You were born, So these guys understand that language.
Yeah, well, I feel like the main thing is there just needs to be other people that step up, which goes into the education part of it,
right.
Letting people know about freedom, because then you're going to have individuals coming out and creating new platforms where you can get away with saying freedom shit.
Yeah, you don't have to use these platforms.
Yeah.
You don't have to use
You need to get people to start creating different avenues.
When they monopolize like this, we have no choice. We have to fight back.
And then it's the liberal deep state that they all control all this shit.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Sure, the conservatives do too because they get involved in it as well.
Right.
But I feel like most of the time it is usually liberal elitists that are contring this all.
I mean, you got like a government media.
And I'm not letting off the Republicans.
Media corporations all working together, like behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, they all share the same story. I'm sure you've seen the news where they show the news clip, and it's one news agency saying something, and then it goes to another one, and another one, and another one, and they're all repeating the same crap. They get their marching orders from the New York Times. They get their marching orders from the AP. They just repeat the same crap.
Right. Well, I mean, when there's one owner, like who owns CNN, Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he controls what gets put out. He writes the the policies for CNN.
Yeah, and their talking points and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
Well, helps with that.
Yeah.
And all their news teams that do that stuff, they're all doing the same thing. They're
Right.
sharing it with everyone, and they're just repeating it.
Right.
And it's lazy journalism, honestly, because they're not trying to get out there and actually get to the bottom of stories and stuff. They're just repeating
Right.
whatever everyone else is saying.
A corporate policy.
Yeah.
is what they're repeating.
One guy does the footwork to kind of get what the story is, and then
Right.
everyone just repeats it.
Right.
And then if it's the Fox News end of it, they're going to have the right-leaning edge to it. If it's the CNN or MSNBCs, they get
Right.
it, then it's going to have the left-leaning to it.
course.
But it's still the same crap.
Yeah, it's the same fucking.
How do we control you today?
Yeah, don't participate.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to this and see what else we got.
And this is kind of why. Wait.
Yeah.
This is kind of why we don't do this kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, we don't really do the identity politics
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right.
Because it's such a left and right issue most of the times, and there's very few real equality issues that we need to address as a nation. But at the same time, it's just a lot of like talking points for either side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I always say the same thing over and over again. I'm not really into the politics. I'm into the freedom.
Right.
So I don't care what this guy is or this guy is or whatever. If
Right.
they're gonna let me do what I want to do, as long as I'm not harming anyone, I don't care. Or you, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Right.
Doesn't matter. Everyone should be free to do what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Freedom, bruh.
Freedom, even on the internet, even on YouTube. I mean, they need to allow the content on there. I mean,
the only time that I feel like a private company should really be, they can do whatever they want. They are private.
Right.
However, I feel like most of the private companies, they shouldn't be doing anything they're technically discriminating against your free speech.
Right.
And the way you think.
And that's
if
what
you're
we're-
not, what is it called, advocating violence or theft or destruction of someone's property, rape, murder, any of that. I mean, you're not doing those few little things.
Right.
What's the fucking problem?
Yeah. Get out of the fucking way.
Someone says something I don't like, and then you cry like a little bitch, a little snowflake.
Yeah, and that's what this is about. Like, I guess he said something like bullying was part of the, like they feel like they were being bullied. But that's what the lady was saying, or this guy was saying about the lady, right? So
the one story that's
the one story.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and he said one. I like how he said one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to it real quick. Let's see what else he says. What other nonsense? This fucking guy. Look at this fucking guy.
He just looks like
look at him.
Fucking
There's
Dilbert.
been a lot of concern that this stuff needs to be handled.
There's a lot of concern that needs to be handled by who?
Oh, what's at
People
stake
who
here?
follow Alex Jones and InfoWars say that
Crazy
this is a free
people?
speech issue. Whether or not how they impact people is not the point.
They think
The
it's a
point
free
is that
speech
these
issue.
are the largest social networks in the world. Their populations are larger than any country on Earth.
Ooh,
and
that really changes
thus,
things.
InfoWars and Alex Jones should be allowed to say what they say.
Yep.
The people who are against them say, no, harassment is not okay.
What
These
is harassing?
platforms have rules against this
What?
kind of behavior.
He's on
And they-
YouTube, bro.
What is harassment? What is like? you
Not
know-
policies. They're saying that he's outright bullying people.
Okay, so
He's
what-
using his mouth on a platform, and therefore
he's
it's bullying
using
people.
words to bull.
Yeah,
he's using
hurt
words
me very
to
badly,
hurt
Chris.
people.
Yeah.
Have you heard, bro?
Because he's a jerk. I mean, you can't stop people from being assholes. You can't legislate that. People, if somebody is an asshole, they're an asshole. But it doesn't mean that that you fucking lock them in a prison.
So what you do is you do not watch his channel.
Exactly.
You don't support it. You
Like,
could find out
don't
who his
support his
advertisers are,
contact.
and you don't do it.
Don't
And if
support
you're
his
really mad,
content.
go ahead and protest him.
Right.
Fuck it.
Right.
That's called freedom.
Yeah, go do that.
But when you start getting
But don't-
government and getting
But
private,
don't tell me I can't watch it. Don't tell me I can't. If that's what I want to feed myself, don't tell me that I can't eat that.
it would be crazy if you had the right and the left always petitioning everything that's on YouTube and only saying, "Oh, we can only have conservative views or liberal views."
Right.
What's the difference with this? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? Like you can't do that.
No.
The left does try that more than anyone, though.
They fucking just need to leave us alone.
Yeah.
Let us fucking watch whatever we're going to watch on fucking YouTube.
If someone's saying something that you don't agree with, turn it off. Turn the
it
channel.
off.
Don't do business with them.
Yeah, tell your friends not to watch.
Yeah, if you don't like Crim 86, don't watch it.
Don't fucking watch.
It's not that fucking hard.
Or watch and fucking criticize us.
Yeah,
I don't care.
whatever, yeah. But you don't have to go, oh, I'm going to go after YouTube and tell them to shut you down, or I'm going to go do this, or, you know.
Don't be a snitch.
Don't be a snitch. Oh, God damn it.
Be cool, man.
Yeah, all right, let's go. Let's see what the end of this nonsense is. This guy's really
There
mean.
is a lot of bad stuff that happens on the internet every day.
There's a lot of bad
And
shit that happens
these
in the
social
world.
networks, Facebook, YouTube, all of these people continuously have to close accounts and remove content all the time. What's interesting about Alex Jones and InfoWars is that they are very public. We know who Alex Jones is. And he continues to do what he does despite warnings from the companies.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Alex Jones and InfoWars respond. So far, it doesn't appear as though that they have changed the way that.
So what I understood about this is when he got kicked off YouTube, he got more subscribers on his personal channel than like he's ever had, and made tons of money off of it.
Didn't they try to shut down his page or something?
Yeah, they've gone after. Well, this one was about what was it? Apple and Spotify,
all the big companies
and YouTube, right?
Yeah.
But he has his own private channel. And people like Howard, what's his name? Howard Stern has his own thing. Like you can just subscribe to his own channel. Like, go to his own page, and then they have the show on there. So he's already got and he got more subscribers than he's ever had. Like,
is he on XM?
You know what? I think he is, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, let's see the end of this crap.
That they do their work and the way that they publish, but it'll be interesting to see that. It'll also be interesting to see how the conservative movement changes and responds to all
Oh
of this.
my God. So he's now trying to equate Alex Jones, which is a conspiracy theorist / libertarian / Ron Paul / Trump guy.
Fucking podcast.
That is a total he has his own little thing.
Yeah.
And he's not a conservative.
The games these fucking people play,
Right.
dude.
It's
Holy
crazy.
crap.
That's why I don't watch this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Remember on the
this
interview
is why
I
we
said
don't do it, because it's such bullshit.
Remember on episode 2, the interview, my on the spot interview, I
Yeah.
said I don't watch politics anymore.
Right.
I can't do it.
Right.
Because they're all just you're listening to shit.
Yeah, you're listening to entertainment is what you're listening
It's
to.
shit is what it is. It's not
Yeah.
even entertainment. It's shit.
Well, I mean,
It's outright lies
it's
about
like
how to
watching
control
the
you.
Kardashians.
Well,
you know, it's the same
I feel like that's better. I do.
Yeah.
That actually is stupid shit, but it's entertainment.
Right.
This is just fucking outright lie shit controlling you.
Right.
It's a different kind of shit.
It's horse shit.
It's horse shit.
It's terrible, terrible
And
shit.
it's like a road apple. Yeah.
Red apple.
Yeah. So what did we cover today, Chris? We covered the Chris changing his mind on voting for one.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that's a big, that was a big shift for me.
Yeah.
I am not my brother's keeper.
Yeah.
Despite what you might think.
A bunch of little things in here that most of the average people out there they're not thinking about.
They're really not.
No.
They're zombies.
So that's why we always say, look it up, get into it, and start figuring out stuff.
We need smart freedom fighters.
Well, my favorite is when people go on here and then they'll look up something like what we just played. And then they go and just repeat what this guy said.
Right.
And then they think they know the whole story. So you can research this stuff, but I stopped kind of doing that.
The thing is,
just don't control me.
Here's the right, here's the left, here's like the middle.
And then here's freedom.
And then hi, we're waving at everybody.
Look at this shit.
I don't vote, so.
You don't vote. I will not vote again.
Yeah, oh, there you go. See, total, yeah. He's still getting the gear.
Yeah.
It's hard to. It is hard.
Man, we were fucking born we were born.
Hey,
into
bro, we're
statism.
slaves.
We were born into statism, man.
Well, it's true. Step out of statism. Hey, status got a state.
They
Said
got
that on the show yesterday.
Yeah. I feel like funds are a problem.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Educate yourself. # look it up.
Yeah. The only thing that's certain is change.
Yeah.
All right, guys. John.
Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Later.